mark 7.5 over here, 7.5 over here. I'm going to install a nail, and I'm going to also go 7.5 this way. So, on the exam, like what you will be presented with is a form with an X over here like this, and that will be the starting point for you. So at this point over here, that would be the corner of the house, concrete corner over here. This is how we locate a building, with this point over here. Okay? So 17. So from there, we're gonna go and just chalk a line. We have a nail, we stretch across, we go over our line. Boom. Okay? So that's the straight line, the first one. It's dictated by a distance from the footing, in this case. But in reality, how would that be dictated? We would be at the bottom of the hole, and there would be string lines, and we would drop a plumb up to here and one over there, make marks, chalk across, right? But we don't have that set up. We're only building a corner wall. We're going to go off a line, which is not it's not completely wrong. Now we have to do 3, 4, 5. What does that do? What does that give me?
Right angle.
Right angle. So if I stretch over here, I have 6 over here. So at 6, while I'm here, I'm going to drop a nail.
Make sure you get everywhere, Nick.
I'm going to try to do this in the least motion possible. So I have my 6, I'm good over here. I can now, what do I want over here? 8. So I'm going to make some kind of an arc. So I'm just going to walk my pencil like this at 8. Oh! Okay? Is that alright?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to put the tape at 6. And what am I looking for? Sorry? This. So basically, where the 8 and 10 meet is going to be square. I didn't have to do an arc because I went straight where they meet. I could have made an arc. That's a.
Is that an arc?
Yeah, that's my 6, and my 10 will come over here.
That's your 8.
Yeah, that's your 8.
Yeah, exactly. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay? So where the two arcs meet is where I want to chalk across. So now I can chalk fast. Okay? So we got square. Now, it is not like the most accurate, like we could even be more accurate if we had two students, one holding the tape and, burning a foot, doing all that kind of work. But you're expected to do this by yourself. This process is accepted. All right? Now we need to do a layout. So I'm going to choose a nice straight piece for my shoe. This. And I have to figure out the inside corner. So why don't you grab small pieces like this that you can handle just to get started. So as I said before, oftentimes in forward the way we think is that our shorter side over here would have the material passing through, because we don't want to cut material. We want the shorter lengths to extend. That's just a rule of thumb. Okay, so that's how I would probably have this shoe pass over here, like this, and like that. So at first, I just place it to help me figure it out. I have this one passing, I have this one butting, so I'm putting it on the line about, like this. I know that I want to be back from this over here a 1/4 inch. Why did we do this the 1/4 inch? Well, it became very relevant when we started to do our whalers. Because gonna have a stud over here, my corner stud, right? You see this? And then I'm gonna have a whaler that's gonna go there. So if this plywood sticks out, my whaler is gonna be bumping onto the plywood, and when I put in my wedge, my whole form will wedge apart. All right? So this is why we set back of a 1/4 inch over here. Okay? So basically, it's just like on the paper plan that you have. But start with some sample material. Then, when I have this figured out, I can put this away, and I can use my little block that I created over here. And I would start with this one over here, because it's already laid out where it's going to go, and this one's going to go. I make sure I have a 1/4 inch. So, like all the time we nail, you start nailing, you prepare your nail, then you place your piece of wood about where it's going to go. You lay out the distance, your thickness of plywood, and then you can go. You have to take your time doing this procedure, because some of the material is warped, right? Some of the 2x4 are warped. So if you just nail and expect it to be straight, it'll play trick on you. It's your time to correct it. I know exactly where this panel will go because it lines up flush with the shoe. I have a mixed pocket and nail. His face said no.
You betcha. Just throw them at him.
No, the other one's
I grabbed the wrong pocket.
I still have it. See.
I grabbed the wrong pocket.
Was it everything?
Thanks.
No, Alex, let's do this.
So, I'm looking for my other ribbon board.
Here it is.
You want to make sure that the end of this piece was cut square. Okay, that's important because I'm going to be looking at how tight the joint is over here, so no spill of concrete. So in the ideal scenario, I should be standing up and the ribbon board should cut the chalk line in half.
Why would the ribbon board cut? Oh, okay, that's it.
Yeah, when I
That's how
slide
you do
through,
it.
when I slide from the top, in
That's your
order
method.
to respect the square that I've initially took the time to do, chalk the line, then I want to have the ribbon board once installed with no gap over here. I should still see the line half, and that would be ideal.
That's the ribbon board.
This is the ribbon board. Yep. Okay.
Can we just call it the plywood?
Plywood, but the thing is that we have 2 foot and 6 inch. So these we'll call This we could call plywood, and this ribbon board, like this, we can differentiate from one another. Okay? So, this one over here, there'll be a corner stud over here. And how am I going to figure out the inside? Well, what's the rule of thumb for the inside for the plywood?
The opposite.
The opposite. So that one went through, that one butt. So now I'm going to have that one butt, that one go through. Alright? I'm going to make it the opposite like this. Do you have some 200 mil tie rods over here?
The inside, you put an inside shoe too?
No. Do we need an inside shoe? That's a very good question. What's the purpose of the shoe?
Prevent it from coming.
The purpose of the shoe really is only to locate the form so that when we pour the concrete, the whole thing doesn't just rattle and shift.
Okay.
It's the only purpose it serves. It's not a structural piece. This is not what prevents the concrete, not in a form of this sort. Sometimes, of course, the shoe does help. But right now, this form is mainly restrained by studs and tie rods. Not so much the shoe. The shoe locates the form right now.
Okay.
You'll see, because after that, all the studs will go down. And they're retained by whalers. That has a lot of strength. The shoe is only there to, so that I can start my form where I go. Because when I build and build and build, I'll lose the line.
Yeah.
The shoe will become my line. Make sense?
Yeah.
Inside over here, since this stud is this way, the stud goes opposite. And there's another way of thinking about this. This plywood over here is strong because it's retained by that one. That one is weak because there's nothing holding it back. It would just fall down. So we consider this the weaker side. So we're going to use this piece against it with the shape, you know, the 3.5 inch, very structural, plus the whaler will buff it up. Okay? Now, that just told me where my weak part and my strong part is. So, should the tie rod be closer over here, or should it be closer over there?
Oh, you didn't have that?
You say over here? Well, this is considered the strong part, right? The strong corner. It's considered the strong corner because of this. So I'm actually going to put the tie rod the closer
Oh,
to
he's
the
not
weak
using one at
corner
all?
over here.
You can.
Okay?
It's still weak. Thanks, Rob.
It's, well, because we, like,
Even with the stuff?
it's not going to be weak. It's never really weak because we're going to build it strong, right? But we have to decipher which one is the weak and the strong. It's just a rule of thumb. When you build and build, you'll just understand that you have a stud like this one goes like that, and the tie rod is close to it. We could just say this, but if we talk about strong and weak, it starts to give us more design this. Okay? Or over here like that. And then I have another tie rod that goes somewhere over here like this. Okay? So, because we're learning and because we are going to work fast and under pressure, we can make mistakes. So it is important that you grab some small material like this and you do a layout, an initial layout, because past this, it's standardized. The rods are on center. The first rods that are not they're not the same distance from the corner as the first two, because of a weaker, stronger corner, a pattern to start. Okay? So once you've located that, then you can start doing a layout. And for the layout, what is the distance from here to the inside? What is the distance from here to here?
Is it 3 inches now?
We said
Between
3
the
inch
tie
as a
rods.
rule of thumb, just so that we have maybe a measurement to go with.
When you say 3 inches just between the tie rods.
Yeah, I said that if you have 3 inch from the inside of the form to this first rod, and if you have 3 inch between those two rods, you're in business. But if we wanted to just do it mechanically without the tape, I would say I want to get as close as possible to this inside corner, and I need to leave room for the stud, because at the end of past each rod there is a stud, and I also need to put a little room to snap a wedge in there, like to be able to put a wedge in, right? But this will come by doing and doing and doing. So 3 inch is a rule of thumb. I'm not giving you any measurements from the inside to here and the inside to there, because on the exam I will trick you. I'm going to give you different size rods, so it's going to change your inside pattern, and we'll prepare for that. Leave this for the future. Okay? Now, over here I have a rod, so I'll make a sign of a rod. I just make a line with a circle. It's just it's a little symbol I make. We plant a nail. And what is the distance between rod that we said we're looking for? So 19 and 3/16 is basically the diamond shape. And why are we choosing this?
5 times into the 18.
That's what it does. It does 5 times in 8. But the reason is because we said we don't want, like when I will be coming to your
No
farm.
more than 24.
Exact. I will measure your form and I will say we don't want to see a rod distance greater than 24. So why aim for 24? It's too risky. We'll aim for 19 and 3/16. Maybe that means 1 or 2 extra rod at the end of the wall, but we have something overkill, solid. Okay? Just an idea. So I'll go 19 and 3/16.
Is that going to work in real life?
In real life, your foreman will tell you the spacing between the rods and the spacing between the studs.
And it's going to be exact.
It's going to be based on an engineer plan, basically based on the size of the wall, the height of the wall. This will all be dictated to you.
The type of rod and everything else,
Yes.
you know. That's usually laid out. You know, they'll tell you that. It's not something that you have to figure out unless you're building something for yourself. But usually you already know that because they already told you or you saw the plans, whatever.
Okay, so that's a very good question and a good answer right there. So I'll put in my rods on this side. On this side over here, we'll label right away that rod. We'll put a nail. Just for the tape because you're alone and this is a very good carpenter practice to start doing is instead of always asking the help of somebody, try to find techniques where you can work alone and ask help when you really need it. Okay, that's for the rods. And what is going to be my stud spacing? Stud spacing will go 24. Because I'm telling you that we don't want a space between stud greater than 28 inches, right?
Joe, is there a maximum between tie rods? A maximum spacing?
Of course, there's a maximum spacing.
What's that number?
And the maximum spacing between tie rods is dictated by the gauge of the tie rod. Let's say this is a 2,000-pound tie rod. The spacing will be closer than a 5,000-pound tie rod.
And you judge that by the height of your wall because you have 150 pounds.
That's how it's going to be developed by engineers. There's charts that you're going to charge. In the next module, you'll learn how to use those charts. And then you can say, I want to build this form 2x4, 4x4, 4x6, tie rod 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. We have a variety of hardware we can use. But let's stick to the basics because we're still at the basics. And I'm going to mark my 24 over here, make an X for my stud. Okay, so this part of the work takes up a bit of time, but you should understand it. Understand it well, so that you don't do mistakes. After this, you're just flying.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
You have the shoe on that side, so are you literally just nailing your boards to your bolts, your studs?
Yeah, I'll continue maybe with that.
I mean, the outside I have is okay. It's more the inside I'm having here to work.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about the inside yet. Because before you're gonna do the inside, we'll do the pilaster. We have to continue the wall another 8 foot, and then we have to lay out our rods like we did in the classroom. Then we'll consider the inside wall, but before that we're gonna put a pour line, a bulkhead, a window buck, you know? So we're not there. We still have whalers to put, we still have kicks, so your outside wall is not completed right now. So we'll see how we can complete this right after.
So for the studs, it's not greater than 28? 24?
24 is when we'll put them apart, no greater than 28 when we measure apart. Those are just numbers that I'm throwing out there. But let's follow them. So at this point, I can remove the material. I can start installing the rods.
Can you build the outside and inside at the same time?
No, because you want to have, there's going to be steel workers that are going to come and put steel between the layers, right? You do your outside wall, steel workers put in the steel, and then you close. And you need an outside wall to do all types of mechanical pathways, doorways, windows. Okay? So So you see, I've chosen this corner, this side over here, and I actually forgot one step is to put my corner post. So now I'm gonna grab a nice long piece, ideally perfectly straight. Yeah.
Would you set rebar on that?
You're videotaping?
Hold on. Your question is, are we gonna put rebar on there?
Would you?
Would you? In here, there would be dowels coming out of the footing, and that would be it. There would be little dowels coming out like this. You would build the outside wall. Once the outside wall will look like that, the steel workers would come and connect the dowels to longer rods, and then do an horizontal mat where they could climb on it and fill it with steel. And then they would put these little plastic spacers to prevent the steel to touch the form, so that we can have our 1.5 or 2 inch of space between rod and concrete. But it's another trade. And then they do all the steel work, we come again, and we close the form. Right? So what I'll do is, I know I gotta put some nails into it, so into the stud, so I'll just prep them a bit. The more you can prep the nails, the less you rattle your form. Because we already started to realize how flimsy it is to start, right? It wants to fall apart. So we tolerate here 4 nails to start. I'm really curious to see if Alex has a different technique to do this. Because he's gone to a different school. I'm really curious. So far, how does it look? Good. That's a good size. Now, I'm going to install this piece over here. I'm just going to flush it, line it up. 1 nail, 2 nail, boom. So there's no rattling, it's in. You see? And then I'm going to place it somewhat by eye level, like that. I can use the distance over here, make it the same all the way up. And then the stud is standing. Okay? So we'll put the rods in front of our lines, and these lines are going to be true for the entire purpose of the exercise. I'm going to go grab a piece of plywood. And then, since I want to bring this one over here, what I'll do right away, before even touching the material, I'm going to place my nails. Choose a corner, choose a plywood that has a nice edge. Okay, you grab it, and you put, then I line it up over here, and I just drop it like this, and that's a balancing act, okay? This piece over here is actually bowed, so some of you will want to put a stud over here right before, but it's a challenge. If you find that placing a stud at the end helps you, so that you can hold it against something good enough, I personally work like this. If I had a helper, it would go much better, but you're expected to do it by yourself. So let me see if I can help you.
So would you put the stud at
So
the end, or you
now,
wouldn't?
This thing is holding by itself.
You wouldn't?
My nails are pre-pierced, and I'm going to just... No, I'm going to start at the top, and I'll show you why. Because I'm physically very... Perhaps.
Like this, no?
Yeah, no, that's not bad. But,
We won't charge you.
so I'm what's the distance I want to have of overhang over here? 16. A 16, right? So I let it pass the 16, and look at this. How convenient was that? Look, 1 hit, right? So now I'll put this in like that, and it's gonna fall on me just to prove me wrong. Now, then I can use my body, and I can just push this away until I have a 16 left, and I go, boom. So now the plywood is sticking out a 16, the form stands by itself, the rods are in, right? So, 3 nails at the end, 3 nails at the end of a plywood, 2 nails on the stud. Then we take a longer one over here. If I'm missing material, I'm going to have to put this in, like that.
Small diamonds are for the rod, the big diamonds.
And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say,
I think it's 6 bodies. Yeah. Rods is the 9.
Okay?
The
So
19 is on
I want to have a stud midway over here.
the first one starts at 16, right?
When I learned this stuff many years ago, there was all these studs on Melody corners always at 12. That, I don't know why we changed that. I can check the books to see.
I was looking at that and then I was looking at his.
Anybody has a 2-foot level? I'm almost done, but I want you to see all the steps so you can move ahead and have good insights when you're gonna, so that it's in your subconscious. Now I put all the rods where they go, and look, I prepared the nails. I'm gonna need some room over here to turn around. And now I'm gonna do something opposite to what I did, yet similar. I hold the sheet just like that. I place the tip of it about where it's gonna go. I drop the panel like this. Now, I go down over here and I line up my plywoods. You see my ribbon board is started an area? I'll keep that area all the way up so I see consistency. And if there's something off, boom, I'll catch it right away. So it's there, I go in. Right? That's all it is. We'll take this, we'll put it inside the form. And if, don't worry. So if I don't want to rattle this, I can just make a little mark of level. I should be putting the level on the plywood, not on the stud. Plywood is more consistent, more straight. It's the inside of the form that I'm concerned about. So now I can line up my line over here and go. So the corner is level. Okay, next step. Guys. Maybe I don't really have to start with the end plywood, the end stud over here. Maybe I'm going to start with the stud. Maybe I'm going to start with a stud that goes like this, just to show you something different. Then I don't have any line to follow. I don't have any reference point. So I'm going to put the nail at the top. Okay? And then I'm going to line it up with the telephone pole or the edge of the building, because the edge of the building is nice and level. My stud is straight. Good.
It's not very
Then we go
straight.
down
It's
over
pretty
here.
bold that piece of wood.
So, okay, hold on a sec, I'm almost done. Okay, so at this point all I have to do is place the rods where they go, and I have a good corner to start. So you see, I didn't put this one just randomly, I put it over a stud X. So not only I hold my form, but I put the stud where I want it to be. Or I put it midway at the end over here. A stud, like so for the nailing pattern, is 3 nails over here on the edge of the plywood, 2 nails on each stud. Okay, one at the top, one at the bottom. Never, ever, ever, never, ever, ever toenail your studs. Don't toenail your studs. There is no reason for this. We're not wall framing. We're loose framing. And another rule is whenever you nail plywood to wood, 2-inch nails, so that we don't wreck and destroy our plywood. Any question? Good. Go ahead. do it.